So, Mr. President, thank you for being here tonight. So, Mongolia has grown at an amazing rate of 70.3% last year, according to the IMF, and it's predicted to grow by 17.1% this year. However, 1/3 of the population is still below the poverty line. There's still cautions about whether Mongolia will get another Dutch disease syndrome or whether the resource cuts will be implemented. So do you think that the beginning of production of the oil platform mine and acceleration of the production of the platform mine will help more Mongolians rise out of poverty, or will it lead to a dark road?
I think there are many countries endowed with natural resources, and there are also many countries actually failed. But Mongolia would like to succeed, and I'm hoping for success. Why I'm saying that? Mongolia is an open country. I usually see that what countries are succeeding, open countries are succeeding. In Europe, Norway, they have a great mineral resource wealth, and they are doing with that mineral resource good things, you know. They are succeeding. Canada and Australia. And Mongolia is the open country, mean that Mongolia is governed by our people, people's choice.
Yeah, I agree with you that Mongolia is a very flourishing democracy and we aim to be prosperous. However, as you know, the Mongolia is also quite corrupt, and on the corruption index it ranks very low, even below China at sometimes. So when we take a look at Nigeria, it also had a good start out, but then corrupt officials took the money out, and Mongolia could face the same problem. How would you face this challenge?
You know, fighting corruption is not easy. This is hard choice. And since the cold winter in 1989, when we began to make historic transition, I was there. I was a street fighter. I fought for the freedom, for democracy, for our people's right. And I know that corruption is the mortal enemy of any open society, any democracy. And because of that, we have to have very strong stand against corruption. I usually say that, you know, corruption is test for the public service, for the politicians. Fighting corruption is not easy, as I say, but it requires more action. It requires decision making. It requires more tough laws introduced in a society and reinforce it. And I think in that front we are making some progress, but making the decisions related with the corruption fighting, it requires political will. And from the president to the ordinary people in Mongolia, we have that political will, and I hope we will succeed with that.
So do you think that the new coalition government will be more capable of fighting those challenges?
Yes, facing those challenges, yes.
So one more main question. China is obviously Mongolia's main importer of copper, gold, molybdenum, and coal, obviously because most of the mines are located on the southern border. And China is trading below the market price, way below the market, sometimes 60 to 70% below the market price. And some people in Mongolia are suggesting that we should build another railroad to Russia to get better prices, to get those coal, molybdenum, copper to Europe, maybe get them across the Pacific Ocean to America. What do you think should be our relations with China be? Because now more like 30% of our investments are from Chinese corporations and government banks. Do you think that China is dominating Mongolia's economy, and if China falls, what would happen to the Mongolian economy?
Still China is the biggest trading partner of Mongolia. Still China is the biggest investment partner in Mongolia. Of course, the issue related with the price, you know, export price. Mongolia is sharing longest land border with China, 4,700 kilometer land border. Why Mongolia is becoming the attractive place for investment? I think one of the reasons is we are close to the Chinese market, most important, largest market in the world. And because of that, and I think there is issue related with China, issue related with the price of our commodity, of our mineral ore exporting to China, but Mongolia is the landlocked country, locked by Russia and China. And now we are making the negotiation, we are discussing issues. Through China, we would like to have more gateways to other markets, possible markets in Japan, South Korea, and in Europe. and also one possible market, of course, through Russia. Russia is also a big market. And I think those issues always will be on table, and people's demand is fair, and we have to meet that demand. In order to meet that demand, we have to talk with China. Negotiating and talking those issues quite tough, and I hope our new parliament and new government will continue to do that.
Thank you very much. Just the last question. As a former Harvard Kennedy School student, what do you think Americans get most wrong about Mongolia in general?
You know, we have a great relations with the United States of America. This year, actually, we celebrated 25 years of diplomatic relations between our two countries, and Mongolia called that we have a common value and shared interest. What I mean by that, you know, freedom, democracy, human rights, rule of law, transparency, those are the common values, and for which we are working together, for which we are fighting together. You know, our men and women in uniform served together in Iraq. Now they are serving together in Afghanistan, in other hotspots of the world. And because of that, I think there are great future to expanding our relations. And of course, there needs to be more investments from third party, from the North America, from the Europe. That's in line with our national interest. Why I'm saying that we need more investment third party means we need balance our investments from our neighbors. Because of that, our relations between China and Mongolia is very important relations.
Thank you very much.
Great. Yeah.